I've developed a little habit, and it's not some deep spiritual practice or a grand self-improvement goal. I smile at people in the supermarket. That's it. Just smile. Not a huge grin, not a forced be happy kind of thing. Just a small, genuine, I see you smile. It sounds simple, almost silly, but over time I've come to think of it as one of the most important things I do. Because the world feels a little tense these days, doesn't it? Everyone's rushing, everyone's distracted, everyone's carrying their own quiet heaviness. And a supermarket is one of the few places where all of us, all ages, all stories, all moods, cross paths in the same aisles. So I started smiling. And it's funny how something so small can make such a difference, not just to them, but to me. Today, I want to talk about that, about the quiet power of small kindnesses, and how a tiny human moment, even in front of the baked beans, can remind us that the world still has good in it. Welcome. Come on in, get comfy, let's sit for a while. I've developed a little bit of a habit over the years, one I didn't plan, and one that seems to puzzle people sometimes. I smile at strangers in the supermarket. Nothing dramatic, not a toothy grin or a forced performance, just a small, polite, human smile. The kind you might offer when your trolleys nearly collide in front of the bananas. It started, I think, because I realised how serious we've all become in supermarkets. We move through the aisles like soldiers on a mission, eyes forward, baskets swinging, armed with a list and coupons. No one looks up, no one lingers, we're all trying to get in and out before the parking ticket expires. But every now and then I'll catch someone's eye. An older man squinting at the tea shelf, a tired mum juggling a toddler and a trolley, a young cashier doing her best to stay cheerful, and I'll smile. Just a small moment of, I see you. And what's lovely is that sometimes they smile back. Sometimes not, and that's all right too. But when they do, it feels like a little exchange of humanity. Two strangers standing under the harsh fluorescent lights, surrounded by tinned soup and self-checkouts, momentarily remembering that we're all in this life thing together. It sounds so small, doesn't it? But I think that's exactly why it matters. Quite often, that little opening smile will lead to a brief exchange of words, or even a longer chat. I think that's wonderful. There are so many lonely people around today, and I think even a little chat in a supermarket aisle can make a huge difference in someone's life. We just never know what the person standing next to us is trying to cope with in their life. When I was younger, I used to crave big connections, deep conversations, life-changing friendships, grand moments of understanding. But these days, I find a quiet joy in the tiny ones, the little nods of recognition that say, we're both here and we're both doing our best. Because the truth is, it's easy to feel disconnected in the modern world. We spend so much time online, scrolling through lives that don't really see us back. We read the headlines, feel the weight of the world, and forget that right here, in the fruit and veg aisle, there are people, actual, living, breathing people, quietly going through their own stories. Smiling is my little rebellion against that. A way of saying, I may not know you, but I wish you well. Sometimes it lands in a way that stays with me, like the woman who dropped a packet of pasta and we both reached for it at the same time. We laughed, she smiled and said, that's the kindest thing anyone's done for me all week, and my heart just ached a little, because all I'd done was pick up some penne. It makes you realise how hungry people are for a moment of kindness, how rare it becomes to be noticed in a world that's always rushing past itself. So yes, I smile at people in the supermarket. And not because I'm trying to be saintly or cheerful or overly optimistic. Heaven knows, I've had plenty of grumpy supermarket days myself. I do it because it reminds me that even in the most ordinary moments, there's still space for connection. And maybe, just maybe, that small silent smile is someone's reminder that they matter. I think what surprises me most about these little exchanges, the smiles, the small talk, the passing moments, is how much they stay with me. There's a ripple effect to kindness, even the tiniest kind. A few months ago, I was at the supermarket on one of those grey days where everything feels slightly heavier than it should. You know the kind, where even the music in the store sounds half-hearted, and you can't quite remember why you came in, but you've ended up with biscuits and hand soap. Anyway, I was standing in the queue, and the man in front of me turned around and smiled. Just a quick, friendly nod, as if to say, we're both surviving this queue. And that was all it took to lift my mood a notch. He had no idea, of course, but I left the shop feeling lighter, a little more connected, a little less lost in my own head. And the funny thing is, I found myself smiling at people the whole way home. At the person who let me cross the road, at the neighbour who was watering her plants, like one small act of warmth had loosened something in me that I didn't realise had tightened. It made me realise how powerful it is, this chain reaction of kindness. You never really know where your small moment will end. Maybe the person you smiled at will go home and be gentler with someone they love. Maybe they'll remember it later in a quiet moment, and it will make them feel seen. Or maybe they'll simply pass it on, a kind of invisible generosity, moving quietly from one stranger to the next. It reminds me of a poem I really like. It's by Spike Milligan, and it's called Smiling is Infectious. I'll read it now. Smiling is infectious. You catch it like the flu. When someone smiled at me today, I started smiling too. I passed around the corner and someone saw my grin. When he smiled, I realised I'd passed it on to him. I thought about that smile. Then I realised its worth. A single smile, just like mine, could travel round the earth. So if you feel a smile begin, don't leave it undetected. Let's start an epidemic quick and get the world infected. Isn't that great? I love that poem. It's strange, isn't it, though, how connections can travel like that. Wordless and weightless, but somehow strong enough to hold us together. We live in a world that celebrates the loud and the dramatic, grand gestures, viral kindness, sweeping declarations. But the truth is, most of what keeps us going isn't loud at all. It's soft. It's small. It's the person who holds the door open, the smile across the aisle, the shared laugh at the self-checkout when something won't scan. Each little kindness is like a small stone dropped into a still pond. You may never see how far that ripple reaches, but they do reach. Sometimes I think we underestimate just how powerful gentleness can be. We think that because we can't change the whole world, we can't change anything. But I've come to believe that if you change one moment, if you make one person's day just a little easier to bear, you've already done more good than you might ever know. And maybe that's why I keep smiling at people in the supermarket, because I've seen what happens when someone does it for me. Because it reminds me that even in the middle of our errands and worries and everyday noise, there's still this quiet thread of connection tying us all together. And it's so fragile, but so strong. Sometimes, when I look around, it feels like the world has forgotten how to be gentle. Everyone's in a hurry, everyone's on alert. We're surrounded by noise and opinion and endless headlines that tell us who to fear or what to fix. And in the middle of all that, a smile can feel like a small act of rebellion. Because smiling says, I still believe in kindness. It says, I'm not giving up on connection. It says, I still think the world can be good, or at least good enough to try. I think we underestimate what a radical thing that is these days. To stay kind, to stay open, to choose warmth when the world keeps hardening its edges. Smiling at strangers isn't going to solve the whole world's problems, but it might soften the edges of one small corner of it for just a moment. And maybe that's where all change really begins. Not in grand speeches or sweeping gestures, but in the thousands of ordinary choices we make every day to stay human. It's the same instinct that makes someone pause to help pick up a dropped bag or say, after you, at the checkout. It's the neighbour who waves from across the fence. It's the friend who sends a message just to say, thinking of you. Tiny moments that whisper you're not alone. Wouldn't it be great if everyone that listened to this would start smiling at people in the supermarket or in the street? And then what would happen if those people passed this video on to other people and they all started doing it too? That ripple of smiles could reach every corner of the world. And wouldn't that be worth smiling about? Sometimes people will tell me, oh, I could never do that. Smile at strangers, it feels awkward. And I get that. It can feel a bit silly at first, like you're breaking an unspoken rule of public politeness. But awkwardness fades quickly when kindness becomes your habit. And one day you realise it's not about you at all. It's about the shared humanity that flickers, even briefly, between you and someone else. The truth is, the world can be overwhelming, but small kindnesses, those are our anchor points. They remind us we still have a choice about the kind of energy we put into the world. So the next time you're out running errands, maybe try it. Catch someone's eye, offer that small, soft smile. No big performance, no need for words, just a simple moment of, I see you. You might never know what difference it makes, but you'll feel it, a tiny spark of connection in a world that's far too quick to look away. And maybe, just maybe, that's the start of a quiet revolution. One warm smile at a time. You know, I think about all those tiny moments, the shared smiles, the quick thank yous, the polite little gestures between strangers, and I realise that's what keeps the world turning. It's not the big dramatic acts of goodness that change us most. It's the quiet, ordinary ones. The ones that ask for nothing in return. So if you ever catch me smiling at you across the fruit aisle, I promise I'm not judging your choice of apples. I'm just saying, I see you. You matter. We're both here, doing our best. And maybe that's all any of us really need, to be reminded, even for a moment, that we're part of someone's kind. So go on, next time you're out shopping, try it. Smile at someone for no reason at all. See what happens. Because the smallest things, I think, are often the ones that ripple the furthest. And who knows, you might just make someone's day, and your own, a little brighter. Let me know what you think about smiling at strangers. Do you do it? Will you start doing it? Or do you just think it's a bit strange? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's see if we can get these smiles to spread far and wide. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Take gentle care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.